Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Wild Camper's Diary. My name is Ben, and as always, the aim of this podcast is for me to offer you my thoughts on the world of wild camping, reflections and insight on my own experiences, and hopefully some inspiration along the way. So, welcome to episode 9, which I have called Being Outdoors with Kindred Spirits. Before I start, I must apologise for the slight delay in getting this podcast out to you since episode 8. Life has been pretty busy, so thank you for bearing with me. Thank you for being patient. Now, about 3 to 4 weeks ago, I went out into the woods to do some wild camping, but not alone this time. I went out with some friends, and there must have been around 10 of us approximately. We went off to some woods in Surrey together, and I guess you could call it a bit of a semi-wild camp. There was an opportunity to watch some bushcraft demonstrations, and just kind of generally enjoy the outdoors. But the key thing, I guess the main thing about this camp was sharing the experience with others. Now, I like to do a lot of solo wild camping, as you know. I like to get like my own company, like to get away from everything. But I also do like to share the outdoors with like-minded people, kindred spirits, if you like. And I just wanted to share with you my thoughts about this particular camp because I came away from it feeling very, very positive. So I found the location in the woods in Surrey, and I got to see some people that I knew already, and I got to meet some new people. But the thing that really stood out for me was sharing the love of the outdoors and the love of wild camping. I guess you get it if you're a camper or if you love the outdoors, but there's just something very special about getting away, getting out into the woods or into the hills or wherever it is. The people that are just doing it for the same reasons as you, they just understand, they just get it, and there's something very special about it. So I was putting my shelter up, and a friend called Chris came over, and he was taking interest in how I was configuring my tarp. And I guess to my friends outside of the wild camping world, that would seem utterly dull and pretty boring and maybe even a bit bizarre. But there's something quite special, isn't there, about kind of geeking out, talking about camping gear and kind of sharing thoughts and ideas and advice. And then as the weekend progressed, I just loved just slowing down and just lounging around the campfire, just talking to friends. You know, as I said, people that I haven't seen for a long time, who I really appreciated seeing and catching up with, but also getting to know new people and just sharing outdoors experiences, laughing about things associated with the outdoors, things that aren't associated with it, but just generally coming together, and it really kind of bonded us. During the afternoon, we dug a pit in the ground, a kind of an oven, if you like, and we had heated up these rocks on the fire and prepared this lovely leg of lamb. And we all kind of played a part in it. You know, people were getting the rocks ready, people were getting the food ready. I went off to get some bracken, and we just kind of all pitched in and created this oven and had to wait about 3.5, 4 hours for the food to be cooked, which I guess when you're at home is a really long time, but you kind of really appreciated it when it turned up. So it kind of reminded me a bit like an episode of Bear Grylls' The Island, except we all got on better, and it was a lot more ordered and less chaotic. So yeah, it was really, really, really good fun. One of the things I love about being in the outdoors is switching to what I call my outdoors clock. So I get away from this sort of city 9 to 5, rush, 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 kind of trying to fit everything in, family life, work, etc. And when I get into the outdoors, I'm on Ben's outdoors time. Sometimes I try not to even look at my watch. I just go with the flow, and I just force myself to not worry about time. Just force myself to just take my time, That's why I quite like using the alcohol stove actually, because it takes time, not rushing. There's no rush to put up a shelter, just being still and tuning into nature. But then doing that with other people kind of adds an extra layer, and because they're really appreciating it as well. So what I'm trying to say is that being outdoors is fantastic, and being outdoors alone doing solo camping, solo hiking is special, but it's also special when you can share it with other people, even if it's just one other person, especially if they're really tuned into it and they share that passion for the wild camping, for the experience, the adventure. So that's just a few thoughts there for you of sharing the outdoors, doing camps with other people. My next camp will be a solo camp, which I'm really looking forward to, and in the process of planning and getting ready for that. And I get quite excited just by the planning. It feels like the adventure has already begun before I've even left the house. So thanks very much for listening to this podcast, everyone, and I shall see you again for another episode of A Wild Camper's Diary.